The massive hologram materialized above every major city on Earth simultaneously, a being that appeared almost human, yet distinctly alien. Its silver-scaled skin rippled in impossible patterns, and its 6 eyes blinked in unsettling synchronization. High Commander Vexthor of the Galactic Hegemony had arrived to deliver humanity's ultimatum. Director Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force stood in the Pentagon's command center, her dark eyes fixed on the tactical displays, showing thousands of hegemony warships holding position just beyond lunar orbit. 20 years of preparing for first contact, and this was how it happened, not with a peaceful exchange of knowledge, but with the barrel of a gun pressed to humanity's head. People of Earth, the alien's voice resonated in every human language simultaneously. Your civilization has been assessed and found worthy of absorption into the galactic hegemony. Resistance is futile. You have 48 hours to surrender your sovereignty and accept your place as productive members of our society. The alternative is immediate planetary sterilization. Sarah's hand tightened around her coffee cup, but her voice remained steady as she addressed the room of military and civilian leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, Protocol Omega is now in effect. Authorization Code. Prometheus Rising. Beneath the surface of every continent, hidden quantum computers hummed to life. In classified facilities around the globe, engineers and scientists who had spent decades preparing for this moment began their final calculations. The hegemony wasn't the first advanced civilization to discover Earth. They were simply the first to announce themselves openly. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, lead scientist of Project Aegis, stepped forward. His weathered face showed the strain of too many sleepless nights, but his eyes sparkled with barely contained excitement. Director, the quantum shield is ready for activation. We've completed the integration of the reverse-engineered technology from the Roswell artifacts. The hegemony won't know what hit them. They expect us to either surrender or attempt conventional resistance, Sarah replied, studying the tactical displays. Their entire strategy relies on technological superiority and the psychological impact of their overwhelming force. They've done this thousands of times to other civilizations, but humanity has something they've never encountered before. Deception, Marcus grinned. While they watched us develop nuclear weapons and crude spaceflight, we were actually building something far more advanced using pieces of their own technology. Technology they lost on Earth centuries ago. The next 47 hours were a masterpiece of misdirection. Earth's governments publicly debated the ultimatum while secretly evacuating key personnel and facilities. Military forces made obvious preparations for hopeless resistance, drawing the hegemony's attention while the real defensive systems remained hidden. With 1 hour remaining, High Commander Vexthor appeared again, his expression smug. Your pitiful attempts at preparation have been noted. I admire your species' spirit, but surely you must see the futility of resistance. The hegemony has absorbed thousands of civilizations more advanced than yours. Accept our benevolent rule, and your species will prosper under our guidance. Sarah stood before the emergency session of the United Nations, broadcast globally, and to the hegemony fleet. Her voice carried the weight of humanity's unified response. High Commander, humanity has a long history of facing ultimatums from those who believe themselves superior. We have a consistent response to such demands. She paused, allowing tension to build. That response is no. Then you choose extinction. Vexthor's voice boomed. Launch planetary sterilization protocols. Sarah smiled. Actually, Commander, we choose to show you why threatening Earth was your biggest mistake. She pressed a single button on her command console. Activate Project Aegis. The quantum shield blazed to life. Not above Earth, but around the entire hegemony fleet. Thousands of ships suddenly found themselves trapped in a containment field based on their own lost technology, improved by human innovation. The aliens' weapons fired, only to have their energy absorbed and redirected. Impossible. Vexthor's hologram flickered. This technology. How did you? Did you really think those ships you lost on Earth over the centuries were all accidents? Sarah's smile turned predatory. "We've been preparing for this moment since before your grandparents were born, Commander. Humanity doesn't just resist threats. We turn them into opportunities. Now, shall we discuss terms for your fleet's safe release?" The command center erupted in cheers as the hegemony fleet found itself completely neutralized. Phase 1 of humanity's defense was complete, but Sarah knew this was just the beginning. The hegemony would return with new tactics, new weapons, but now they knew that humanity wasn't the primitive civilization they'd assumed. The real war was about to begin, and Earth was ready. Dr. Rodriguez approached with a tablet displaying the quantum shield's readings. "They're already trying to adapt their weapons to penetrate the containment field. Clever bastards." "Good," Sarah replied. "Let them waste energy while we gather data on their attempts. Every failed attack teaches us more about their capabilities." She turned to address the command center. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is just the opening move. Initiate Phase 2. Let's show the galaxy why you don't threaten Earth." The hegemony's trapped fleet hung in space like frozen fireflies, their advanced engines reduced to impotent flickers against Earth's quantum containment field. Below, in the depths of the Quantum Defense Command Center beneath the Rockies, Dr. Marcus Rodriguez watched streams of data flow across holographic displays as the aliens attempted increasingly desperate measures to break free. "They're trying to establish a resonance cascade," he noted to Director Chen, who stood beside him studying the tactical overview. "Fascinating approach, using their ship's quantum cores in synchronized pulses to stress the containment field's harmony." Sarah Chen nodded, her expression thoughtful. "Will it work?" "Not a chance," Marcus grinned, his fingers dancing across the control interface. "We derived our containment algorithms from their own lost technology. Everything they try just gives us more data to perfect our defenses, but they're not going to be trapped forever." "They don't need to be," Sarah replied. "Just long enough for Phase 2. She activated the global command channel. "All quantum defense stations, initiate Protocol Prometheus." Across Earth, hidden facilities thrummed with power as humanity unveiled its second surprise. The quantum containment field began to pulse with new energy patterns, not just containing the hegemony fleet, but actively interfacing with their systems. Within minutes, the first data streams began flowing back to Earth's computers. High Commander Vexthor's hologram appeared again, but this time the alien's composure had cracked. "What are you doing? This is impossible. Your species can't possibly understand quantum-level technology." "You made a critical mistake, Commander," Sarah responded calmly. "You assumed that because we hadn't revealed our true capabilities, we didn't have any. Humanity learned long ago that appearing weak when you are strong provides a significant tactical advantage." The alien's six eyes narrowed. "You're stealing our technical data." "Borrowing would be a more accurate term," Marcus cut in, unable to resist a bit of scientific gloating. "Your quantum encryption is impressive, but it's based on principles we reverse-engineered decades ago. Right now, we're learning more about your technology in hours than we did in years of studying crashed ships." Warning klaxons suddenly blared. On the tactical displays, a new fleet of hegemony warships emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system, reinforcements arriving far sooner than expected. "Speaking of learning," Sarah smiled grimly, "thank you for confirming our theories about your FTL communication capabilities. All stations, execute containment pattern Delta." The quantum field expanded, its energy web spreading out like a spider's trap. The new hegemony vessels, charging in to rescue their trapped comrades, flew straight into humanity's carefully laid ambush. Within moments, they too found themselves snared in the containment field. "Impossible." Vexthor's hologram flickered with rage. "Our tactical simulations showed your species was at least a century away from quantum manipulation technology." "Your simulations were working with deliberately leaked data," Sarah explained. "While you watched our public space programs stumble with chemical rockets, our real advances remained hidden. We learned that lesson from Earth's own history. True strength lies not in showing power, but in choosing the perfect moment to reveal it. Marcus's console chimed with new alerts. Director, we're detecting power spikes in multiple enemy vessels. They're attempting something big, possibly a synchronized quantum core detonation. Let them try. Sarah's voice carried absolute confidence. Activate the absorption protocols. Dr. Rodriguez, show them why threatening Earth was their second mistake. Their first was giving us decades to study their technology. The trapped hegemony ships began to glow as they channeled power to their quantum cores. In space, the sight must have been spectacular. Thousands of ships preparing to detonate simultaneously in a desperate bid for freedom. The resulting explosion would have vaporized most of the solar system. Would have. Instead, as the ships reached critical mass, Earth's quantum field shifted frequency. The massive energy release was caught, channeled, and redirected. Humanity's planetary shield didn't just strengthen. It began to glow with the absorbed power of thousands of quantum cores. Thank you for the donation. Sarah broadcast to the stunned alien fleet. We'll put all that energy to good use. Now, unless you'd like to contribute more power to Earth's defensive systems, shall we discuss the terms of your surrender? But the hegemony wasn't finished yet. Even as she spoke, new signals began emanating from the trapped ships. Quantum pulses unlike anything they'd detected before. Marcus's eyes widened as he interpreted the data. Director, they're calling for something. Something big. These energy signatures, they're not just communicating. They're opening a gate. Sarah's expression hardened. Full sensor sweep of the outer system. Whatever they're bringing, we need to be ready. She turned to the command staff. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare for Phase 3. The real test of humanity's defenses is about to begin. In the space beyond Neptune's orbit, reality began to tear open. The hegemony was about to reveal why they ruled most of the known galaxy. Earth had won the first battle, but the war for humanity's independence was just beginning. Marcus looked up from his console, his face illuminated by the pulsing data streams. Whatever comes through that gate, Director, we'll be ready. Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display as the spatial anomaly grew larger. We better be, Doctor, because I have a feeling we're about to find out exactly what it takes to make the hegemony truly angry. The quantum gate beyond Neptune's orbit tore space itself apart, its swirling vortex large enough to swallow Earth's moon. Through this dimensional wound emerged the hegemony's true might, a vessel that dwarfed their previous warships, its surface riddled with weapon ports and quantum projectors. The Worldbreaker had arrived. In Earth's Quantum Defense Command, Sarah Chen watched the monstrosity's approach on the tactical displays. Well, that explains why they're called the hegemony. Analysis. Dr. Rodriguez's fingers flew across his console, processing the sensor data. It's magnificent, actually. The quantum engineering alone. They've basically built a mobile planet. The energy readings are off the scale. Our containment field won't hold against that thing. It's not supposed to, Sarah replied calmly. Initiate Protocol Hydra. Across Earth's surface and throughout the solar system, hidden quantum transmitters activated. The containment field holding the hegemony's fleet didn't dissipate. It transformed. Thousands of trapped alien ships found their quantum cores suddenly linked together, their energy redirected through human-designed conduits. High Commander Vexthor's image appeared again, but this time he was smiling. Observe, primitives, the true power of the hegemony. The Worldbreaker has cleansed 1,000 defiant worlds. Your clever containment technology is impressive, but ultimately futile. Surrender now, and perhaps we'll allow your species to survive as servants. Interesting offer, Sarah responded, checking the progress of Protocol Hydra on her displays. But we have a counter-proposal. Dr. Rodriguez, would you care to demonstrate? Marcus grinned. With pleasure, Director. Quantum link established. Initiating power transfer. Now, the containment field surrounding the hegemony fleet pulsed with new energy. But instead of trying to hold the ships in place, it began drawing power from their cores, channeling it through Earth's quantum network. The trapped vessels became unwitting batteries for humanity's true defensive system. "What are you doing?" Vex Thor demanded, his composure slipping as sensor data reached him. "These energy patterns. You can't possibly control this much quantum power." "That's where you're wrong," Sarah replied. "We've spent decades not just studying your technology, but improving it. Your quantum cores are powerful, but inefficient. We've learned to channel energy in ways your empire never imagined." The World Breaker's forward batteries began to glow, preparing to fire. But Earth struck first. From quantum projectors hidden throughout the solar system, energy lanced out, not in destructive beams, but in precisely calculated waves that rippled through space itself. "Quantum harmonics," Marcus explained, unable to contain his scientific enthusiasm. "Your ships generate quantum fields for propulsion and weapons. We've learned to manipulate those fields directly. Right now, we're not attacking your ships. We're rewriting the quantum laws of space around them." The effect was immediate and spectacular. The World Breaker's weapon ports flickered and died as the space around the massive vessel refused to acknowledge its quantum signature. The ship's own power turned against it, creating a cascade of failures throughout its systems. "Impossible." Vex Thor raged. "No species has ever. We are the masters of quantum engineering. We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. And that's exactly why you're losing," Sarah responded. "You stopped innovating. You stopped imagining new possibilities. Humanity never stops pushing boundaries, never stops asking what if. While you relied on brute force, we learned finesse." The World Breaker's engines flared as it tried to break free from Earth's quantum manipulation. But with each attempt, humanity's control grew stronger, fueled by the combined power of thousands of captured hegemony cores. Marcus's console suddenly blazed with warnings. "Director, they're attempting a dimensional shift. They're trying to tear open space itself." As expected, Sarah nodded. "Execute final protocol." Throughout the solar system, quantum transmitters realigned. The energy web surrounding the hegemony fleet pulsed with new patterns, not just manipulating space, but actively reshaping it. As the World Breaker attempted to rip open a new quantum gate, Earth's defenses turned its own power back upon itself. The massive ship shuddered as conflicting quantum fields tore at its structure. Space twisted and buckled around it, trapping it in a web of its own mangled dimensional engineering. The hegemony's greatest weapon found itself trapped not by external forces, but by its own thwarted power. "A word of advice, Commander," Sarah broadcast to the now silent Vex Thor. "Never assume that just because a species appears primitive, they haven't learned from those who came before. Humanity has been preparing for this moment since we first found one of your crashed ships. Every piece of technology you lost, every scrap of data we recovered, led to this." Warning signals suddenly blared throughout the command center. Marcus's eyes widened as he read the incoming data. "Director, we're detecting new quantum signatures, massive ones, multiple gates opening throughout the system." Sarah's expression remained calm, but her eyes hardened. "So, the hegemony finally shows its full hand. Very well. Alert all stations. Phase 4 begins now. Let's show them what humanity does when truly threatened." As space tore open in dozens of locations around the solar system, Earth prepared to face the hegemony's full might. But this time, humanity wasn't just fighting for survival. They were fighting to change the galaxy's balance of power forever. Quantum gates blazed across the solar system like artificial stars, each one disgorging more hegemony warships. Not just standard vessels now, but ancient craftworks pulled from the Empire's reserve fleets, ships that hadn't seen combat in thousands of years, each one a masterpiece of destructive potential. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez studied the sensor readings with a mix of scientific awe and tactical concern. "They're deploying everything, Director. Ships we've never even seen in the recovered data. Some of these designs, they're pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible with quantum engineering." Sarah Chen stood at the center of Earth's command bunker, watching the tactical display as it tracked the growing hegemony armada. The holographic projection showed waves of enemy ships taking up attack positions throughout the solar system. Earth's quantum web, still drawing power from the originally captured fleet, pulsed with increasing strain. "Now we know why they call themselves the Eternal Hegemony," she mused. "Those aren't just warships. They're their civilization's history written in metal and energy." She tapped her command console, opening a channel to all Earth defense stations. "Execute Protocol Oracle." Deep beneath the lunar surface, in a facility unknown even to most of Earth's leadership, quantum computers that had been running calculations for decades finally activated their primary functions. The result was subtle at first, a barely detectable ripple in space-time that spread outward from the moon. High Commander Vexthor's image appeared once more, but this time accompanied by 11 others, the hegemony's High Council itself. Their ancient faces showed varying degrees of anger and curiosity. "Enough games," the first speaker declared, her voice carrying the weight of millennia. "You have impressed us, humans. No species has ever turned our quantum technology against us so effectively. Submit now. Join our empire as equals rather than servants, and we will overlook this defiance." Sarah smiled. "An interesting offer, but you still don't understand what you're dealing with. You see, we didn't just study your lost ships. We found something else, something you've been searching for over 10,000 years." The first speaker's expression shifted almost imperceptibly. "Impossible. You can't have." "The precursor archive." Sarah's smile widened. "Found it right where you lost it, buried under the lunar surface. You've been looking across the galaxy, never thinking to check the primitive world where your survey ships kept mysteriously crashing. We didn't just study your technology. We learned from those who taught you." Marcus activated a new sequence in the quantum defense grid. Across the solar system, the ripple in spacetime grew stronger. The hegemony ships began reporting equipment failures, but not from damage. Their quantum cores were being rewritten at the fundamental level. "You don't have the capability to decode," another council member began. "We've had centuries," Sarah cut him off. "While you were busy ruling the galaxy, humanity was quietly solving the precursor's quantum encryption. Do you know what we found? They didn't just leave technical data. They left warnings. About you. About what you've become." The lunar facility's power output suddenly spiked. The ripple in space-time became a wave, washing over the hegemony fleet. Ship after ship fell silent, their quantum cores responding to commands written into their basic architecture thousands of years ago. "This is why you never found the archive," Marcus explained, watching the cascade of shutdowns spread through the enemy fleet. "The precursors knew what you'd do with their legacy. They left their greatest secrets with a species too primitive to use them, until we were ready to stand up to you." The first speaker's image flickered as her own flagship systems began to fail. "You don't understand what you're doing. The archive contains dangerous knowledge. There are reasons we modified the precursor technology." "Yes," Sarah nodded. "You modified it to ensure your control, but we've restored the original protocols. Right now, every quantum core in your fleet is reverting to its original precursor design specifications. How does it feel to lose control of your empire's foundation technology?" Across the solar system, hegemony ships hung powerless, their quantum cores now responding only to Earth's commands. The mighty world breaker itself, pride of the empire, drifted like a dead hulk in space. "Director," Marcus called out, "we're detecting massive quantum fluctuations throughout the galaxy. The reversion effect. It's spreading through their quantum network. Every hegemony ship, every quantum core, is being restored to its original precursor settings," Sarah finished, "which means the entire hegemony just lost control of their technology. I believe this changes the balance of power rather significantly, doesn't it, first speaker?" The council's images began to fade as their ships lost power. Before they vanished, the first speaker's ancient eyes met Sarah's. You realize this means war. Real war, not just this technical manipulation. No, Sarah replied firmly. This means negotiation. Because right now, humanity controls the technology your empire is built on. We don't want war. We never did. What we want is for the galaxy to be free. And thanks to the Precursor's foresight, we can ensure that happens. As the Council's images vanish, Marcus looked up from his console. Director, we're receiving signals from across the galaxy. Other species, former hegemony subjects, they're requesting contact. The quantum reversion affected their systems too. They're free for the first time in millennia. Sarah nodded, her expression solemn. Send them our response. Earth stands ready to help rebuild. Not as rulers, but as equals. It's time for a new age in the galaxy, one of cooperation rather than dominion. The quantum web pulsed once more, but now it carried a different message. Not one of defiance, but of hope. Humanity's greatest victory wasn't just in defeating the hegemony, but in freeing the galaxy from their control. But as Sarah watched the tactical displays track the spread of the quantum reversion, she knew this was just the beginning. The real challenge would be building something better in the hegemony's place, and ensuring that power, even in humanity's hands, never corrupted absolutely again. 3 months after the quantum reversion, Earth's orbital space buzzed with activity. Ships from 100 different species filled the skies, their designs as varied as their civilizations. Not warships now, but diplomatic vessels, come to participate in what historians would later call the Great Conclave. From her office in the newly constructed Galactic Cooperation Center, Sarah Chen watched vessels dock with the massive space station. The structure itself was a testament to humanity's new philosophy, built using restored precursor technology, but designed to be accessible to all species, with no hidden backdoors or control mechanisms. Latest report from the transition teams, Dr. Marcus Rodriguez announced, entering with a quantum tablet. His normally pristine lab coat showed signs of exhaustion. Like many of Earth's scientists, he'd been working around the clock to help former hegemony worlds adapt to their restored technology. 87% of affected systems have successfully stabilized. The remaining worlds should be online within the week. Sarah nodded, her eyes still on the gathering fleet, and the hegemony remnants, still sulking in their core worlds. But they're coming around. Turns out when you lose the ability to force people to obey you, you have to learn diplomacy. He smiled wryly. Some of their younger leaders are actually embracing the change. They're calling it the Great Awakening. A soft chime announced another arrival. The holographic projector activated, showing representatives from dozens of species, some humanoid, others wildly alien, all equal participants in this unprecedented gathering. Director Chen. The Arcturian ambassador's crystalline form sparkled as she spoke. We're ready to begin the final session. The Articles of Cooperation await Earth's signature. Sarah stood, straightening her formal uniform. This moment had been carefully planned, designed to set the tone for the new galactic order. Thank you, Ambassador. Dr. Rodriguez, would you care to make history with me? The main chamber of the Galactic Cooperation Center was a marvel of engineering. A vast space where atmospheric conditions could be instantly adjusted to suit any species' needs. At its center stood the precursor archive itself, restored from its lunar resting place, not as a weapon or tool of control now, but as a symbol of the knowledge that had brought them all together. Representatives of the galaxy, Sarah addressed the assembled beings, her words translated simultaneously into hundreds of languages. 3 months ago, humanity revealed the truth that the hegemony had hidden for millennia. The precursors didn't leave us their legacy to create empires, they left it to unite us. She gestured to the archive, its crystalline surface pulsing with gentle light. We've all seen the full records now. The precursors didn't die out or disappear. They evolved beyond the need for physical form. But before they did, they left their technology as a test. Not of our ability to conquer, but of our ability to cooperate. Marcus stepped forward, activating a holographic display that showed the quantum network spanning the galaxy. The reversion didn't just restore the original functionality to our technology. It revealed the precursor's true gift, the ability to share power without losing it. Each quantum core is now permanently linked in a web of mutual support. No single species can control it all, because it requires cooperation to function. The hegemony feared this truth, Sarah continued. They modified the technology to enforce hierarchy rather than encourage unity. But now we have a chance to build something new. The Articles of Cooperation aren't just a treaty. They're a commitment to the principle that strength comes from working together, not dominating others. The chamber hummed with discussion as representatives considered her words. The hegemony's representative, a much humbled Vexthor, was the first to speak. And what guarantee do we have that Earth won't simply become the new empire? You control the precursor knowledge. Sarah smiled. We don't control it, we understand it. And our first act is to share that understanding with everyone. The archive isn't staying here. It will travel to a different world each cycle, accessible to all who wish to learn. Earth doesn't want to rule the galaxy. We want to explore it, to learn from each species, to grow together. She placed her hand on the archive's surface, activating its primary interface. The chamber filled with light as the full scope of precursor knowledge became available to all present. This is humanity's pledge. We will share what we know, learn what you can teach us, and work together to face whatever challenges await us in the cosmos. One by one, representatives came forward to sign the articles, not out of fear or compulsion, but with the hope of building something greater than any empire. The quantum network pulsed with new energy as each signature was added, the technology responding to their unified purpose. Marcus leaned close to Sarah as they watched. Think the precursors knew this would happen, that humanity would be the ones to finally understand their message. I think they knew someone would eventually, she replied. They left their legacy on Earth because they saw something in our species, not our capacity for war, but our ability to imagine better possibilities. Our gift isn't just understanding technology. It's dreaming of ways to use it for more than conquest. As the final signatures were recorded, the archive's light spread throughout the chamber, connecting all present in a web of shared purpose. The age of empires was over. The age of cooperation had begun. In orbit above Earth, ships from 100 worlds lit up their quantum cores in celebration. The light of their combined power outshone the stars themselves, not as a display of dominance, but as a beacon of hope for the galaxy's future. Humanity had done more than defeat an empire. They had shown the galaxy a new way forward, proving that true strength lies not in the power to conquer, but in the wisdom to cooperate. The precursor's test had finally been passed, and the real journey was just beginning.